Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the WeSurf Podcast, where we explore surfing, culture, movement, and medicine. This episode is brought to you, as always, by WeSurf Media and distributed by the Swell Seasons Surf Radio. We're going to try something a little bit different today. How do I explain this? We have our normal format, which is, the hour long, sometimes an hour and 15-minute long podcast. But I realize that actually takes some time for us to get out to you guys. So at the risk of sounding a little, cliche, we're going to shorten this a little bit, and we've introduced something that I actually don't have a name for it yet. So maybe I'm going to depend on you guys to come up with a name. So we can call it the WeSurf short set, the lineup check-in, the short ride, between sets. I don't know, whatever you guys like, you let us know, and that's what we're going to call this. But the format is now going to be shorter than it normally is. So for the first guest I'm just going to call it between sets for now. So for the first guest for the Between Sets podcast, we have with us Ms. Chelsea Woody. Chelsea, welcome.
Thank you. I love that. Between sets. That's a good one.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out what the best name for this would be, but I'm like, I'm not sure yet. So we'll leave it up to the viewers. If there's one that you like in particular, then please let me know. So we can just jump on it and go from there. So in particular, we're going to be speaking with Chelsea, who's a surfer and a creative, to talk about her short film Spin Cycle. Quiet, powerful piece that explores rhythm, repetition, and the way surfing can become a reset for both the body and the mind. At least that's what I took away from it. This conversation, as I was looking at the film again for I think like the 8th or 9th time, it's about flow, vulnerability, and the cycles we move in through water and in life. So let's just jump straight into it. So for our listeners and our viewers, Chelsea, in your words, what is Spin Cycle?
Spin cycle is actually something I've been working on for a minute. I first came up with the idea in 2020 when we were in lockdown with this idea of just being, it was supposed to be called Caught Inside, but you know how we often refer to the ocean when we get worked as being caught inside, and just this idea of watching and waiting for the ocean, waiting for the right conditions, and waiting for things to be perfect is just almost I found it similar to like waiting for your laundry, staring into the deep and like just waiting and wanting that to be over, but realizing that you should just let it flow. But then, you need money to make films, and yeah, I found myself injured, and I thought I'd repurpose this for different type of film, being caught in motherhood, being caught in the cycles of endless laundry, but also like finding the time to be a surfer and finding the time to get out in the ocean but yet still be present, and just that longing that you can have when you're a mom and a surfer. But also, yeah, I hope what people take away from it is that nothing's perfect, and sometimes you have to work through seasons of your life, and the ocean will still be there. Taking a moment to remember what that's like and cherish it and sit in the waiting.
Nice. So two things. One, I love the comparison between caught inside in 2020 when we were in lockdown and being as a surfer when we were caught on the inside. So I love that. And secondly, you spoke a little bit about finding the time. Yeah. Okay. Seriously, how do you find the time? Because again, our listeners, if you don't know Chelsea, we had Danielle on the podcast prior. Chelsea's another 1/3 of Textured Waves. So we have Textured Waves, and this is not just, when I say it's her film, I don't mean she just happened to be in the film. She directed this. This is her film. So you directed this film. This is your film. You were injured and you're a mom. So talk about, finding the time. Somehow you're able to get this all done. So, I mean, and feel free to say, man, I don't know how I did it, but how did you find the time for this?
Yeah, it's hard. I'm also a nurse,
Oh,
and I surf for vans too. So yeah, trying to juggle all of that and be like a present mom is super it's hard. My kid goes daycare, so that helps a little bit. And I also have a very supportive husband that has, since we've had our child, kind of forfeited his surfing time so I can get surfing time. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to juggle like getting a filmer and filming when the conditions are right, or getting somebody to film you when the conditions are right instead of surfing, right? A lot of times filmers are like, yeah, I can help you, but it's got to be when the tide is like
Yeah.
really high and the swell is big. So, not ideal conditions. And we did actually film some of this when the tide was like, 5, 6 feet, and then the swell was kind of pumping. So it was like a little backwashy. um, so yeah, it's just like maybe not going when the conditions are ideal or when you really intended to go. But yeah, so having the support of my husband, and yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, definitely shout out and kudos and props and big up to all the moms out there because, I have three other siblings and each of us are 3 years apart. So as adults, that's not such a big deal. But then when you have, for my mom, when it was you take one to piano practice and then the other one to guitar practice and then the third one to ballet practice, and then you also have to hold the fourth one on your hip, and then by the time one is done, you got to go pick up the other one. And yeah, I don't know how she did it. I don't know how she did it. So
So hard.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think moms oftentimes they sacrificed a lot just for
yes,
a lot of their own personal enjoyment.
yes.
Um, so yeah, I hope that like, moms can find the time for themselves because it really does make you a better parent.
Yeah. So, and
For me at least.
if you are a surf mom, if you're not a surf mom, and if you're just a surfer, then go look at this film because if you're a surf mom, you will see something in there that you're like, oh yeah, I'm there with you, sister. If you're not a surf mom and you're a surf dad, then you're like, yeah, how did she do this? Oh, her husband helped her. Okay, yes, I can. Good on him. And if you're just a surfer, it'll make you call your mom and say, Mom, thank you. Definitely, I'll take a look at it for that. So the film feels very cyclical. I would say, routine and emotion. Does that kind of reflect your repetition a little bit with surfing?
Yeah, for sure. I find myself loving to do these long, drawn out cutbacks.
Hmm.
That's kind of all I'm good at, really. But I love it. And yeah, just like that repetition of doing that over and over is almost like relaxing to me. So I felt there was a comparison of, being caught in really just admiring the ocean and those cyclical phases. As surfers, we get caught up in like watching the camera, or like watching like our waves on the camera, or watching the tides. You just get so obsessed and so consumed by this process that you almost forget everything around you. So you're like caught in this cycle. And when you're friends with people who aren't surfers, they don't quite understand the
Hmm.
obsession. So I was hoping to convey that through like just watching like how you can be mesmerized by something so cyclical, and watching the washer machine just go and that, yeah, like just pull you in. I feel like we are like that as surfers. We just look at the ocean and we're really mesmerized and have this tunnel vision
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah. So many times, we get down to the ocean and we just, even if we're not surfing that day, we just stand up and look at it, and someone will walk past and go, what are you looking at? I'm like, I'll know it when I see it.
And the day is
And then, yeah.
gone.
And then before you know, the day's gone.
The day is gone. You're like,
Yeah,
what did I do?
exactly. Exactly. I remember one time I was with a friend of mine and we were standing up on the boardwalk where we surf, just looking at it. And he and I just standing there talking and just chatting, chatting, chatting. And we felt the wind switch from blowing onshore to blowing offshore. And the two of us, without a word, we just looked at each other and we just separated and went in our own direction, and we met back in the water in 10 minutes. And it was we were just standing there, just talking and just observing it and not talking about anything in particular, but everything and anything under the sun. And then we felt him like, okay, let's just go. Nobody took offense. We knew what we were doing. So yeah, I definitely get that, being obsessed and just watching it happen, and then being in the moment for the ocean at that time and saying, okay, yes, this is my time. Now I can go.
Yeah, and when you're friends with other surfers, like you might plan to meet in the water,
Hmm.
and then if you don't meet them, you're like, not nobody ever takes offense because you're like, did
Yeah.
you score?
Yeah.
I scored,
Yeah.
So that's how you know you're friends with a real surfer, because they're like, they don't even care if you showed up.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So did you have did you have a clear vision for the film where you were like, okay, this is what I want it to look like, or was it like a flow, basically, like a wave? You're like, hey, this is where this is the direction it's going in, and this is what I'm supposed to do with this film.
Yeah, I did. I wrote it in 2020. So I had already scouted all the laundromats that I loved in town. And Santa Cruz is like such a, have you been to Santa Cruz? It's
Yes.
so interesting because it's like so small, yet so big, right? Because we're right next to Silicon Valley.
Hmm.
But the beautiful things about this slow paced place is that there are so many laundromats, which is like, signify that there's still some working class folks. There's still a working class mentality here, and like that also is very relatable to like the surf community, right? Like the folks that have been here and have grown up here, they're not big tech, right? So it is a bit of an homage to that as well. So yeah, I scouted all the laundromats that I loved. I had this vision of, you know, wanting to portray the time spent wasted in those places and to try to relate that to surfing. And I had a vision. I like mapped it out with scenes, and then I kind of pitched it to my friend who his name's Joey Ruiz. He's worked on a lot of skate stuff, so he's kind of a legendary skate filmer. And that was cool too, because he didn't have any like, sometimes you'll work with a videographer and they expect you to surf a certain way because they're so used to filming surfing.
Hmm.
But he's so open minded. And one of the things we did at the end is we're like, let's include some of the bloopers, right? Because that's what skate films do. They include the falls. Not everything's perfect. And, sometimes you're trying something over and over again and you don't get the perfect footage. And I think with surf films in particular, we tend to hide those things. We cut off when people fall, but that's just not reality. Everybody falls. So I had it very planned out. I had it mapped out. I sent it to him and he's like, yes, we can do this. And we kind of knocked out the visual portion in a day, which was good because, I have a toddler.
Nice.
Obviously, you always want to, spend more time on
Hmm.
a film, but at some point you have to be like, okay, this is what's realistic for my budget. Yeah, everybody's time. Um, yeah, that's how that went. And I did have a vision, and it came out really, really very close to what I imagined. And I got to work with a friend for the music as well, and yeah, his music was really key to setting the vibe. I think that making sure the music matches the tone is so important. Usually I'm like a hip hop vibe,
Hmm.
whatever, but this, yeah, I'm eclectic in all the things that I listen to. So I wanted it to show that as well. But more importantly, I wanted make sure that we're putting out this idea that once you become a mom and your surf career does not end, and that we should still be capturing that imagery. There's still a place for Black moms in
Hmm.
surfing, which is something that I'm super passionate about preserving, right? Even with textured waves. We don't just end after a certain age. And if we don't continue to make these films or share this imagery or share these stories, we can't rely on anybody else to do it because they're not.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the whole, again, I'm speaking for myself here, and anyone who, or when you go look at the documentary, then, come back with your thoughts on it. But for me, I definitely found that there was a quiet vulnerability about it. And I really found myself, the first time I saw it, I had to watch it twice. Because the first time I watched it, just watched it without
Hmm.
thinking about anything and just got lost in it. And then when it ended, I remember thinking to myself, that was it. And I looked at my watch, like, oh shoot, yeah, that was the time. So I went back because I really wasn't thinking about what I was seeing. I just found myself just completely lost in it right away. It is. I mean, for me, that was a beautiful thing because I'm the type of person that my brain does not shut off very easily. I mean, when I'm surfing, it does, and that's part of the reason why I love surfing so much. And I also teach and practice yoga, but and I tell people all the time, I can bend myself into all kinds of pretzels. I can do a one-handed handstand, no problem. But ask me to sit and meditate for 10 minutes, that's the hardest one for me. That's the hardest pose for me to do at all, anytime.
Yeah, and having an injury forces you to sit
Yes,
with everything,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So yeah, like including that too, the injury portion of like, this is where I am right
Hmm.
now. Like I'm here sitting in all of this, and like I can either make this something creative,
Hmm.
or I can like be depressed and sad and feel bad for myself, or I can use this as a time to get other things done that I really want to get out there and that I feel needs to be out there in the world, even if it doesn't get like, you know, all of the play and hype that I hope it's for somebody
Yeah.
that doesn't feel seen.
Yeah. Well, again, like I said before, I'm going to rephrase it another way this time around. Give this documentary, give this film the hype, because it is not just hype. So give it the hype that it needs.
Well, I don't want to call it a doc
That's that.
because I'm actually working on a documentary, but I want to call this one a doc.
Okay, so we're
I
not
want to call
calling it a doc. We're calling it a film. So you see, you just added an extra question to this now. So we'll get to that one a little bit later, closer to the end on that one then. So what do you hope people, surfers, and let's start with surfers. So what do you hope both surfers first and then people who do not surf take away from this film?
I guess with anything I'm creating around surfing, I hope that non-surfers take away that even if you haven't tried surfing or something that you wanted to try, it's never too late, right? I didn't start surfing until I was 30. And if you have a dream of something, that you should go for it. I also didn't have a passion for filmmaking until I started surfing. So maybe pursuing that thing that you love is going to open up some other doors and creative outlet that you didn't know existed. And for surfers, I just hope that this film is a broader representation of what a surfer is. Like you look at these apps like Nobody Surf or whatever YouTube site that hosts surf videos, and the representation of black women is just not
Hmm.
there. And so I hope this opens up a conversation of why don't we see that imagery, and why it's important for the next generation to see that, because surf moms make surf babies and beach people, you know?
Yes.
And that's important for longevity. And I think about folks that have parents that are surfers.
Hmm.
They often have grandparents that are surfers. And so I hope that we're creating that in some way too, and preserving that so people can see, oh, I'm not just the first one. Because if you don't see it, you have the tendency to believe you're the first, but oftentimes you're not. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Going to backtrack really quickly before I ask this next question. I love the fact that you said that you included the bloopers in the film in the spin cycle, because like you said, so many times you look at a surf video or you follow whoever it is on YouTube and you never see them falling. It looks like they paddle out and for 10 minutes they're just catching waves. There are only a few I've ever heard say come back in and go, yeah, okay, so that was 4 hours and I caught about 3 waves on that one. And you're like, 4? Oh, okay, so it's not just me. I don't feel that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the bloopers are just, I started surfing when I'm 30. So there's no like, I'm not gonna be perfect at it. And like, I'm allowing myself, and I hope I'm allowing other people to have grace. Like sometimes I'll go out there on a new board and I totally blow it, or a board that's maybe not appropriate for the conditions, a little too small. And somebody will be like, oh, you'd catch more waves if you had a bigger board. And I'm like, well, I'm just trying out this board. Like, it's okay if you see me not catch waves, and it's okay if you see me fall. I'm trying something new. And so we don't have to be perfect every time. And that's how you grow, is not being perfect every time. And we should show the reality of it. Like, my husband always says that too. He's a skater as well. And he's like, you gotta show your falls and how big that wave was and blew you up, And like, yeah, I mean, that's another level of vulnerability that I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not, there's no shame in my
No,
game.
there's
Like,
not. There's not. I mean, I love that, and I think that's going to be one of our sound bites on this one. I love that. Yeah, I mean, because so many people and some of the local surfers, some of the best local surfers I know, you see them, we paddle out, and if they fall, I remember one time this one guy I was surfing with, he just grabbed the board and he just ran out there and it was like an 8 foot day and he fell. My guy literally skipped across the water and he comes up cracking up laughing. He's like, "How many do you think that was?" I was like, "I counted at least 4." He goes, "Oh, I can beat that. I can beat that record. Let me try this for 6 more and see." So, I mean, he knew he had the wrong board. He knew he had everything, but he's just like, "I just want to get wet and I just want to forget about my troubles at that moment." So, yeah, 100%.
You're often on display in surfing,
Yes.
especially as a person of
Yes.
color, a black person in
And
the
as a
lineup.
woman.
And a woman, you
Yeah.
feel like you have to be perfect, and if you mess up, somebody's not going to give you that next wave.
Hmm.
So I think it was kind of just releasing that, feeling of like you have to be perfect and not mess up, or else the locals aren't going to give you another wave.
One of our local surfers actually went with you with Textured Waves on your last retreat. No,
Kina,
Kina, yes, Kina.
Kina
And
did
I
so
was
good. Oh my gosh, shout
follow her
out.
on Instagram and I was like, I am so stoked to see she's having such a good time because, I remember when she paddled out with us and, Kina's great, but I was like so happy to see that she found this community and she was having such a good time with you guys. So I was like, yes, go ahead, girl, do your thing.
Dude, Kina, I dubbed her most improved on
Nice.
this trip. Like she really took direction, like whatever we were like, hey, you should try this. And she just did it and like fearless. She's gonna be really shredding in no time.
Nice.
So I was really, really impressed by her
So
on this
Kina, we're
trip.
calling you out on this right now. So I'm going to interview you, and I know where you are right now because I've been following your Instagram. I know you're on another surf trip. So meanwhile, I'm
Already?
sitting down here in 27 degrees in New York. She's out there blowing it up. I'm like, hey, do your thing. I'm
She
jealous,
has
but
the
I ain't
bug.
mad.
She has the bug. That's what you need when you're a
Yes,
beginner, right? Like you catch that bug and nothing is gonna deter you. And she has that. Like she does.
love it.
It's undeniable.
So what's next for you? You mentioned a documentary. So where can people, before we get to that point, where can people see the film? We're going to put it in the show notes, but where can they see the film and where can they follow you and just in general the work that you do?
Well, the film will be on my YouTube page along with some of the other little shorts that I'm
Mm-hmm.
directed and have made, which is Chelsea Woody. You can just look up Chelsea Woody on YouTube and you might find it. Textured Waves is another place you can find me, at Textured Waves or at Chell period by the sea period by the sea dot
Love
ca.
that name, by the
Sorry,
way. I love that
you know
name.
who gave that to me? Dave from De La Soul.
What? What? Okay, no, no. Put a pause in everything else we just said so far. Stop. I'll remind you of the question. Tell that story.
Yeah, Dave, it's a really like he was just like a really sweet dude.
Mm-hmm.
And uh I had a friend that was very obsessed with De La Soul, and she passed suddenly and tragically. And I kind of he was touring in Seattle, and me and my other friend shared that story with him and just how influential he was on her life.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he invited me to the show and we became friends. And he's just so cool and like cared about like the fan stories,
Nice.
right? And so yeah, we would like communicate via email and stuff. And he actually was like, okay, like in one of
Mm-hmm.
his emails, like, okay, ciao, by the sea. And I was like, what? That's a great Instagram name.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So that's what I can never forget your Instagram name. I'm like, that's
But now you know where the origin's from. So every time I hear it, it's like Chell by the
see,
sea. It's not Chell by the
see,
sea. It's
no.
Chell by the sea. You know?
You, you gotta say it with some flair.
Right, right.
So I love that.
So yeah, you can find me there. And yeah, I want to preserve these stories of men blending motherhood and surfing. And so I'm working on this documentary
Beautiful.
um, that's about maternal health
Mm-hmm.
and my journey with it and other folks' journey with it, and trying to change some legislation around how we deal with our birthing population and how we share stories around maternal health. And so I hope this is a unique perspective. And that film, I haven't actually told too many people the name of that, but it's called High Risk Dreams. And that I've been working on for about 3 years. I've had some momentum with it since being injured, channeling my energy into different spaces and places. But yeah, it's been really cool to work on that documentary. And I hope that, hey, I need funding. Anybody listening want to help me with this project? So it's kind of one that I'm doing on my own. And it's going to be a good one, I think. I'm excited. I've never made one before, so it's my first time.
Yep. So if there is any, I'm speaking to you directly, Chelsea, on this one. If there's anything that WeSurf Media or any of our listeners or anything like that can do, then, like you mentioned, funding, then please, 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 this is why WeSurf Media is around, to help people get their stories out as much as we possibly can. So once we hit stop/pause/no more record, you and I can talk about this. But yeah, we would be honored and happy to help you in any way we can. And to our listeners and viewers, we can't wait for this one to come out. So, look out for it. And if there's any way in which you can assist or help with this, then, reach out and see. It doesn't always have to be, you don't always have to drop, $10,000. It would be nice, but you don't always have to drop $10,000. If you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who can drop $10,000, then go ahead and do that. Because that's how most things work. We always know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. No, but that's great. And I'm definitely looking forward to that. So,
and then also hopefully like some more surf edits, just small, fun ones. I'm encouraging all people, especially my sisters out there, make your surf edits.
Yes.
Put them out there in the world because we need to see them.
Yes, definitely. Don't worry about, it's not perfect or it doesn't look this way. It doesn't look that way. I still remember one of my most liked videos on my Instagram was a POV from, my perspective in Fiji on a wave. You couldn't see anything. It was just me going down this wave. But yeah, people love that one because it was just so happy and bright and the water was clear. And yeah, so it didn't cost a thing except borrowing somebody's GoPro. That's it. So it was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.
Okay, he was blowing the horn on that one. All right, so is there anything else you'd like to mention, or any person that you'd like to mention as we come close to ending?
Person that I would
or
like
people?
to mention. People. Well, obviously, always want to shout out my Textured Waves ladies, right? Danielle and Martina.
Mm-hmm.
We just came back from a really cool retreat, and it was one of the best yet. And they just keep getting better. And,
again, I wasn't hating, but I was jealous.
It was good.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to be around these women. And, we've been through so much, and we're still doing it, and we'll still continue to, provide that space and representation. And just shout out to them because, it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
We're all sisters. So, we're sisters. Yeah, you get along like sisters.
Exactly. No, because trust me, I get that because when I talk to people, I'm like, oh no, there's my brother who is related to me by blood, and then it's like, oh no, that person's my brother, and like, oh, so he's your best friend. Like, no, he's my brother, meaning that I can put the phone down on him and say, look, you're acting like a bleep 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 bleep, and then 2 days later he'll call me up and go, yeah, what you doing tonight, and we have no worries.
Yeah, we see that there's a need for what we're doing still. We hoped that there wouldn't be, but it seems to be even more important now. Like, unfortunately, like our goal was like, please, like, we're tired. We just want to surf. But yeah.
Isn't it weird though? Like, because like when you just think to yourself, okay, look, I just want to surf. I just want to be able to chill and surf. And then you see something that you can help with, or that there's a gap, or that you can fill in the blank. And for a split second, you think, okay, anybody? Nope. Okay, I'll do it. And then you just jump in and then just take it on. And we're grateful for it. But I think you and I had this conversation even before we hit record about taking your own time. You mentioned it a couple of times in the podcast, in the interview, taking time for yourself. And then every now and again you have to remember, and I'm talking to you folks as well, it is winter. It is the holiday season when we're recording this, so you know you're extremely busy. Remember to take some time for yourself and pull back if you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So, yeah.
Two more questions. Two more questions.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Single fin or thruster?
Twin.
Twin. Ooh, okay.
Sorry. I'm like, I rode a twin in that whole, I mean, this is all I've been riding, this twin fin. Shout out to Danielle. It's from her shaper. I rode her board last time we were in Nicaragua, and I was like, ooh, I want a smaller version of this. And it's just been like my favorite board ever by Birdham Surfboards. And it's a 7.4 twin. And I love it. So twin, I think twin is my go-to.
Your go-to now. It has become your trusty dusty.
Yes.
And one word, your word, naturally, that encompasses and captures spin cycle.
One word? Ooh. Gosh, I was going to say redundancy, but maybe like resilience. I guess that's what I want people to take away from that. It's like, you might be going through something hard in your life, but it's, surfing's always going to be there and you're going to get through that. So resilience. You have to have resilience to be a mom, to be a surfer, to be, a human these days.
True. All too true. All too true. Well, Chelsea, thank you so much. I know you are extremely busy, and thank you so much for taking the time to sit with me and talk about this. So this was Chelsea Woody speaking about her short film, Spin Cycle. Not a documentary, folks. A documentary's coming. And a reminder that surfing is not just about the waves we catch, but about the cycles that we return to reset, and also about resiliency. So be sure to check out the film. If you're not already following Chelsea, go follow Chelsea, follow Textured Waves. And just as we mentioned, you want to support independent surf storytelling, not just other people's, but your own as well. There's a YouTube account to upload something is free. So you don't have to have 10,000 followers for it to make it legitimate. So you can put something up there and have 2 followers. And I can guarantee you those 2 people will come back and be quite happy for you when they see that you post something. So go ahead and channel your inner filmmaker and do your thing. And if this episode resonated with you, then as always, please share it with somebody you surf with, somebody you move with, somebody you heal with, or just share it in general. And this has been the WeSurf Podcast. Still don't know the name for this one. We'll come up with a name, or you tell us what you wanted to call it. And we will see you in the water. Until next time, have a great.
Thank you.